Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. It's Polyester here. We're going to watch the Dead by Daylight dev stream together. Remember, I'm reacting the same way that you are, so I can't ask them any questions. Any questions you put in the chat, I cannot relay to them. They're going to riff and do their own thing. We're just going to enjoy it together. So let me see here. If I push this button, we should be ready to go. Yeah. 90 seconds. Thanks for tuning in with us here, everybody. Tony Baloney's here. I think I have the alerts turned off, so we shouldn't be interrupted by any follower alerts or donation subscriptions, things like that. It should just be pure dev stream. In the next 60 seconds is the event open. The event opens on the 21st, they told us earlier today, and in this video they're going to explain how it's going to work. So we're all going to find out together what's going on. So next week you should probably see the new patch for the mid-chapter come on the 20th with all of those McMillan map changes and the dozen perk changes, the minor changes of Pyramid Head. Then on the 21st, I expect we'll see Tome 5 go live and this Halloween event. Going to tell us more about it here today. So settle in for the next hour, I would say. The old Halloween music. It's pretty good, right? Hello, Pugster. Who else wants the Blighted Legion? I want to see what it looks like. But that's probably a fan favorite for one of the hottest cosmetics to come out after this mid-chapter. So here we go, settling in. Thank you very much, Tofanaki, for the 5 months. Oh, this is a better version of this. Blighted Blight. Eternal Blight, October 21st and November the 4th. I'm going to try not to talk over them.
Okay, hi everyone, and welcome to this very special Halloween stream. So I am not Queen, lead community manager on Dead by Daylight, and with me there is...
Hi, I'm not Matt, I'm the game director.
All right, and I guess...
I'm not petting Justin, I'm petting Coop.
Cooper!
I thought you were going to point to me, but I'll take Gab's point. So I'm Justin, I'm one of the product managers on Dead by Daylight, working on events and the archives.
Perfect.
Spider-Man's all messed up. Very responsible.
Justin.
Hi, Justin. So we do have two small announcements. There are Halloween contests right now that are open. So artwork, cosplay, and decoration. However, we did hit a little hurdle with shipping for pricing. So there was a little change in the rules. So just make sure you check the rules before you participate.
I cannot wait to see what crazy people have come up with this year.
We'll also have some special stuff coming on social media, so keep an eye out.
The caption machine's broken. This is a pre-recorded stream, so right. No questions will be answered.
Well, let's start with you.
Okay.
What are you coming to talk to us about today?
Today I'm gonna answer some questions about licensing, which is
my God.
Always very delicate to talk about. So I like it because it's a challenge in linguistic gymnastics.
Give me Freddy. Give me Freddy.
Because I try to be as transparent and open about the process as I can, but they are very delicate conversations, and there's a lot of confidential things in there. So we need to be discreet, but still, I'll try to open up and share as much as I can.
So we have a bunch of questions for you. So I'll ask questions, and you tell me if you need too much gymnastics to go around them.
Okay.
All right. So the first thing is, who contacts who? So do we reach out to people, or do they come to us? Like, how does that work?
Game director.
In some cases, it was us, internally thinking. We have a list.
If it's Sydney, I'll cry.
And then we go, okay, who owns this one? And a lot of these things, especially when you're talking about movies and TVs or legends, like characters that have been seen in many different forms.
It's loud enough for you guys?
There are many different avenues to go about finding them. There are weird roundabout ways
Turn it up.
to get a hold of a character. And there are many different actors involved in this. Either agencies, sometimes it's agencies that just manage a catalog of different characters, and they sort of represent the owners. And sometimes it's the owners directly. Sometimes it's the movie studio. Sometimes it's the author. So it's very complex. A lot of the times it's us trying to reach out to them, but as time goes by and as the notoriety of Dead by Daylight grows, and we it started as a showcase, and for us to be able to invite grand amazing characters into the game. Now it became, a couple of years ago, we started saying this is the place where all of horror lives. Nowadays it's been described as the Hall of Fame of horror. So it's a very different negotiation position. So now we get actually poked by, it happened actually very lately, we get poked by some people who own very important and exciting licenses, and they go, you know what, we think our characters would be great in your game.
What?
And so that's fun. That's fun when it happens.
Oh man! I need
what kind
more.
of things do you have to agree on, like how the characters will look, or how the characters and perks will play? Like, is that even owned by us? Like, how do we manage all this?
It's different for each one. Usually, the things that are universal are there's always an approval. So the final word is always with the owners of the license, and that's absolutely fine. It means that we create characters, we show them, and they go, yeah, that doesn't look exactly like my character. He should be bluer, or he should be slightly taller, or his hair should be longer. These are the kind of things that we can deal with easily. When we start the negotiations, usually one of the very few things that we put on the table very early on is things like the character needs to be able to interact physically with survivors. The character needs to be able to, hit them and then put them on hooks. These are things that there's no way for us to go around doing that.
Makes
There's
sense.
ways we can play a little bit with things like movement and locomotion, making sure, like for instance, the nurse, that's ours, but the nurse moves. She doesn't walk, but she moves and she follows sort of the rules. Like, she can't jump over buildings and she can't fly over, boxes, but she's flying, and it looks great, but it's purely aesthetic, the flying of the nurse, the levitation. And these kind of things. So we have a little bit of leeway, but there are ground rules. Like, the character needs to be able to chase survivors and hit them. And that's usually not too much of a problem. As far as the look, there's usually one or two rules, and depending on the license, sometimes they're more flexible in respects to us creating variations or
Freddy.
outfits that don't exist but are inspired by, or it's something that the character could wear. For killers, it's harder usually because they have such a specific, iconic look. But survivors, for instance, Steve and Nancy, it's easier for us to, let's say, create an outfit and go, oh, is that something that Steve would wear? And it's easier to have these kind of things rather than, is this something that Freddy Krueger would wear? And you go, yeah, no, he wears a sweater with a stripe, and that's pretty much it.
So we're talking about looks, and I know there's a lot of Quentin fan out there asking.
Yes.
So why did his face not change when the actor is okay with it?
Yep, sorry to interrupt, but I mean, Matt's title is misspelled. Is that an issue that can be fixed after?
No, that's a ghost of Bjorn acting up.
Yes. That is a ghost of the past coming back and haunting us.
It's
okay. I really wasn't sure. But...
Just blame Bjorn.
Justin, stop Quentin blocking us. We need this info.
It's a tradition.
So the question was about Quentin, and it's tough because there are so many layers of confidential conversations and ownerships in this. But let's just scroll back, just use the mouse wheel and scroll back a little bit on this, and look at it in a more global way. The the rights to the character, the likeness, and the faces are all different rights, and they're not always owned by the same people, and every license is slightly different. So in some cases, the license holder might hold the rights to the characters, but not the actor that played them. That would be the case, for instance, for Laurie Strode.
Laurie, yeah.
Where we're allowed to create a face that's reminiscent or that fits with the character, but we're not able to recreate the face of the actress that portrayed her because the license holder or the person we were going through did not own these rights outright. In some cases,
Jamie Lee owns her likeness.
Part of the rights, or sometimes it's possible for us to negotiate it in.
Wait, so are you telling me that an actor sometimes doesn't own his own face?
That's right.
In some context, it's possible for an actor to not own the rights to their face when they portray the character.
Wow.
So
okay.
I assume
that explains it.
But that's it. So I assume, and that's don't take my word as legal gospel, because I'm certainly not I didn't pass the bar. I didn't even try. But as I understand it, you as an actor own your face and you can do what you want with it. But if you're inhabiting a character that's owned by someone else, then in that context, you are under you're working under the agreement, and you therefore are using someone else's license. So
oh wow, okay.
Yeah, that's it.
That's interesting.
That is very interesting.
I think that we did have a question about how the characters and the perks will play. Like, do the licensors have any say in that, or is it like Dead by Daylight's team's decision?
It depends. Again, some of the licensors, especially movies, and especially older movies, a lot of these license holders or the license negotiators are much more savvy in the world of movies than they are in the world of games, and they might not understand all the intricacies. So we try to make sure that they understand the intention of what we're trying to do. Let's say Michael Myers. We can describe it as saying Michael Myers will be a stalker. He will stand there, he will watch you, he will creep you out by watching you, and then when he strikes, he's the most fearsome thing ever. And usually that's enough for these people to be reassured. They go, okay, cool, that's where you're going with that. We'll take that. That's perfect. And in some other cases, they might be either more interested or more in the know of what the gameplay mechanics are, and they might have input, whether because they have some creative input that we are absolutely welcoming, or whether because they have some concerns and they want to make sure that their characters is properly represented. But most of the time it falls almost entirely in our hands to figure out how to translate what these characters stand for, and what the legacy that they've created, and how to take that and translate it into gameplay mechanic language, if you will.
Awesome, thank you. Another question: do license expire or run out?
Good question.
Yes, yes, they do.
Okay, what does that mean for a player, for example?
Well, every single... No, that's probably not true. But I was going to say every single contract or agreement expires at some point, or at least has terms in there that will specify a possible end. I'm sure there are perpetuity contracts that exist out there, but even then, there usually is a clause somewhere that says, if something happens, then this contract is void.
Yeah. Okay. Again, you're not a lawyer, but
I am not a lawyer. I think if we can add that under my name here
Matt
and
Then
say,
Shooting,
parentheses,
not a
not a
lawyer.
lawyer.
but has watched many on TV,
Yes. Objection. No.
or has at least played Ace Attorney.
Sustained. I've watched Liar Liar, so I know all about law. But what I was gonna say, what was I gonna say? Oh
Like,
yes,
expiring.
expiring. So the agreements that we enter with with these partners tend to have a duration, and for the most part, we either have them with a long duration or we renew them regularly, and that's absolutely not an issue. But there are license holders who may all of a sudden lose that license, whether because their ownership of it.
Not
thank
a
you.
lawyer.
Thank you very much. Either because they don't have the license anymore, or because there are sometimes, like we've seen, someone comes out of the dark and goes, "Oh, by the way, I challenge this right," and then there's, I don't know, a trial that will start. We've seen that with Friday the 13th, for instance. There's a famous trial that's, I don't know if it's even resolved yet, but there
This
were
one we
difficulties
shouldn't be
with the
touching.
game. No, but that's common knowledge. It's something that the information is out there if you want to go get it. But yes, there are issues with some of these licenses where people will have a claim and then it all sort of gets on hold, and anybody who had obtained rights, then those rights that you obtained from a source that is now challenged become sort of frozen until it's resolved. So it can be it's all very
always a
complicated.
possibility.
Man, this just makes
It's
the
also
Freddy one sound so
always
bad right now.
Extremely expensive. Lawyers are expensive. Again,
Not a lawyer.
not a
Not a lawyer.
not a
So
lawyer.
cheap.
Right here.
All right. What's the process for? Because I know that we talked a little bit about it earlier, but licensed cosmetics. So we start seeing a lot more of these in the game, and how
Some
do we
meat.
get to them?
Give me the meat.
Well, the ideal situation for us is
Hey, Cooper.
the ideal
Hi,
situation
Cooper.
for us is if in the contract negotiations we manage to
Cooper sticks
make
his
sure
butthole
to
right in the camera.
mention that we would like to do other outfits. So if we've been able to do that, and if the character has many outfits, that's great. If alternate outfits don't exist, like for instance the Demogorgon does not have alternate outfits, we have to work with them. You're also not a lawyer. We have to work with the license holders to try to find variations and things that we can do. And if they're open to it, that's absolutely amazing. In other cases, there are characters out there who do not have other outfits, and the license holder just goes, "No, this is what the character looks like, and that's it." And then we have to abide by that, and that's absolutely fine. I know that a lot of players want more outfits and variations, and especially because when you come from the outside and you go, I'll just pick an example at random, let's say Michael Myers, and you go, "Oh yeah, but I want the version from this movie, and I want the face from this thing and this thing." But you have to understand that these are all different licenses, and they might not all be owned by the same people, and people might not like each other. So it's not necessarily an easy thing for us to have all of these be available. But
Oh boy.
as we go along, as we've done
Can you
this
tell
more
us
and
about
more,
some
we
successes?
now understand the things that we should be discussing when we enter into a new agreement, and we try to explain to the license holder what they had to gain from doing that, because people will love being able to see the character under many different, variations. They'll be able to have their own version. They have more, they're more committed when you can get the really cool outfit. So it's something that we now know that we didn't really know before. Well, then again, we didn't have a store at the first licenses we came out.
That's true. All right. Are license killer and perk harder to balance? Do we need to get any change approved
For
by
a lawyer,
licensor?
for
Like,
not
how
being a
does
lawyer,
balance
he's
work
dodging the
after
questions like
the
one.
chapter is out?
Oh man.
That's yeah. Whenever we make changes to licensed characters, we like to inform and consult with the license holders. As I said, the gameplay mechanics tend to be something that we keep to ourselves, like we keep ownership of that, but we like to keep them informed and we like to tell them what's happening, and especially if there's any changes to text, if we do changes in the add-ons, in the descriptions, the flavor text, all these things, these absolutely need to be approved. So that might offer some more delays. But usually gameplay mechanics is something that we own. But then, if we're gonna like the good thing about Dead by Daylight, which is also a bad thing, but the good thing about Dead by Daylight is that the characters, the killers at least, are never pitted against one another. So I mean, everybody has a list of tiers of killers and going, oh, very obviously this one is shit and this one is the best. But at least in the game, we never do that. We never pit them against each other, and we don't keep a tally of who's the best. When you're facing a killer, they're usually the worst right now because they're the one you're facing, which is great. So that gives us a little bit of room to be able to create powers that are very, very different and that give variety rather than being the most powerful. Because obviously that would be a very tough conversation to tell a licensor, yeah, we're going to do a character with your amazing legend of horror, and we're going to make him very poor at fighting. Like, that's not something I want to say to people. But we can't tell them all that their character is going to be the best either. So it's always a delicate thing. If we have to tell them, everybody agrees that your character is shit, we're going to buff him a little bit. Also not a great conversation starter. But fortunately, we don't do that.
Yeah. There was another question about when we are making a new chapter, is there a lot of back and forth with the licensors? How does it normally works?
Well, it depends, but the more the better, especially at the beginning. Like at the beginning, before production really kicks off, we love to have like a couple of the design team, maybe some people on the art team, sit with them and go, okay, tell us everything you have in mind. Give us as many reference images you have. Like if we have pictures from, when you're making movies, they often take a lot of pictures of especially makeups and things like that so that they can do continuity and make sure that all the times that the scars are always in the right place and these kind of things. So that is invaluable for us. And then if people can tell us what they see, if they know a little bit about Dead by Daylight and they can tell us how they would feel their character would fit well and all these things, and then we can usually tell them what we intend to do. Dave is great at that, and let them know, this is what we want to do with your characters, and make sure that they're okay with it. And then once we have established that trust, it's much easier for us to just go nuts and do really crazy things, and then they just get excited.
Awesome. My next one, why did we not add whatever you want to say here? Let's say Sydney, Brenda examples. Out of does it help with people spamming our social media?
Oh yes, that's the best way to get things done. Spam on Twitter. Actually, that's the most effective way.
Answer is no, stop it. But that's not true, because sometimes licensors or brands will notice social media noise and will be interested in knowing what is that game that people keep spamming me about. So it might have a positive impact. It might.
Spammy, careful about what we're saying.
Spamming.
Let's cut that.
Don't do that. But also,
do not spam.
Not a lawyer. Not a representative from other brands either. So it's not really useful, and especially because, let's say, someone who spams.
I'm sorry, I'm blocking Matthew's face. I wish he'd rotate his chair some more.
It's not like we didn't think about it.
What?
First of all, I'll put it.
Careful, you're gonna get that rumor mill going.
Let's say you name a horror character or even a horror related character. We've thought about it. We've talked about it internally. I guarantee you, even the most obscure, weird reference, Rubber, the movie about that
No.
Oh my god,
Oh.
the tire that kills
we
people.
talked about it.
That's a lie.
Probably-
That's a lie. There's
Wait,
no
we talked
way.
about that?
There's no way.
The
No.
Fantasia Festival in Montreal is a
Yes,
great source of really weird horror stuff. Phil Ivanovich, our art director, is probably one of the most well-versed in fringe horror person
Yeah, you
that I
want me
know.
to make my camera bigger and it'll
and,
look like my head's on Matthew's body?
We are on social media and we've heard people say strange things and we look it up. We look it up and we check, and we have a lot of people on the team and we have a lot of passionate people, and they come up with ideas. So most of what you tell us we should put in Dead by Daylight, we've talked about and we've considered at least at some point or another. The thing you should know is we come up with 4 chapters a year, more or less. If you count the first year, it was maybe it's about 4 a year. Out of that, we try to keep at least 50% of those originals because it's important to us.
Okay.
To
I thought he was going to say
our own
licensed.
story and continue to deepen the lore of Dead by Daylight. So that's an average that we're going to try to keep. That means 2 possible licenses a year, maybe.
Well,
Maximum. How many out there? There's so many. We've been live for, it seems like forever, but it's 5 years. 5 years, 2 licenses a year. That's about 10 licenses. We're close to that right now. So, yeah, there's no way we can bring in 50 different licenses. We wouldn't want to do that anyway. At this point, we have to pick our battles. There are still some really, really cool ones out there.
You
but
already
we
had
want
2
them to be a
originals this
surprise
year.
when we bring them to you. They need to be.
the 4th license in December.
Wow,
Okay.
that was exciting.
Does that? Do you think that means it's going to be licensed? The 4th chapter in December.
So yeah, drama happened. Okay, we'll just leave it like that. So that was Coop. Thank you. You're awesome. Okay, so yeah, we gotta be very.
Pyramid
very,
Head was the first one this year.
Careful about which licenses we bring in, and we want them to be a surprise. I think that Silent
So we had
Hill is a
Blight,
surprise to a lot of
Deathslinger,
people.
the originals this year.
People did not expect us.
Pyramid
to go
Head,
get that.
Silent
I
Hill
was
is
kind of proud of
the
that
license this year.
I think
One
we all
chapter
were.
left for the
It's
year.
kind of a big
In
deal.
December.
So yeah, there will be other licenses, and they will be absolutely mind-blowingly awesome. So yeah.
All right. Talking about bottoms, we have that
Bottoms.
very important question.
Yes.
Why did we nerf Pyramid Head's butt?
What?
Matt,
Well,
please explain.
Oh
Well,
man.
I think I've answered this in a very well-written article already. I never thought I would actually be quoted in a real media article about. Well, no, that's not true. I had many dreams where I was quoted about butts on very famous media, but those weren't about Pyramid Head's butt. We did not touch his butt. But I'll repeat it again. We did not. No butt touching.
Have any of you
But-
out there in the fog touched Pyramid Head's butt?
However, we did change his attire. So the clothing was changed a little bit, and that only shows the true power of clothing that fits you well.
You gotta wear the right clothing to
Thank you for that.
accentuate
You
your
know
butt,
this
is
gonna
what
be
Matthew
clipped
Cote
and
is trying to
everywhere
say.
tomorrow, right?
It's okay.
Make
That's
sure you
okay.
wear the
I'm fine
proper
with that.
clothing if you want to have
Surprised we
your
didn't change his
butt
title.
accentuated.
Did not touch the butt.
That's coming. Like, you gave Dylan the idea. That's
I know.
it's happening.
I know.
All right. So I do have another question. Why can't we give information while we're in negotiation with licensors? Because a lot of people are asking us, like, yeah, but what's happening with this one? Or are we getting outfit for this? Or what's happening? And yeah, what's happening? Why
Well,
can't we say that?
there's two very good reasons. The first is these negotiations are very delicate and tend to be very delicate, and it's back and forth, and it's sort of a flirty dance that you do until everybody agrees that yeah, we're gonna go out and it's gonna be cool. And any influence that you don't control, like any outside influence from fans, let's say we say we're gonna do something with Garfield. I'm taking that example because we're not gonna put Garfield in the game. But let's say we're gonna publicly say
What, Matt? You're breaking hearts right now.
But Mondays could be the killer. That's terrible.
Okay, so no Garfield. Yeah.
So let's say we come out and say, oh, by the way, right now we're in negotiations with some people about bringing Garfield into Dead by Daylight, but we're not sure it's going to happen because there are still things to discuss. And then we have an outpouring of fans going, it's going to be shit. Garfield's the worst. Garfield's actually super racist against dogs. You can't have that. And that might actually put extra complications in the conversations we have with the license.
I always knew that about Garfield. That's why I only have Odie over here on the Funko Pops. No Garfield.
Signed should be kept private. I think it's probably not a written rule. Again, not a lawyer, but it's probably the case.
All
so
right.
The other very important thing, and I think it's even a better reason, is the fact that if we tell you beforehand and it doesn't happen, well, there's going to be a lot of disappointed people out there, and we never want people to be disappointed about something. So we try to only tell you that things are coming when we know they're coming. And also, the marketing people like to be able to make surprises. And how could we possibly tease and reveal if you already know it?
Yeah,
know
that would
the
take
answer,
all the fun out of it.
Yeah, please send it.
Talking about fun, this is
Do
my
you
last
think
question
Matt's
for you. But if you
horizontal striped hoodie means anything?
Anything you want, what would it be?
I think that the one that I've answered, like I'm asked that question regularly.
Of course.
And I tend to. There's one that I picked very early on that I kept repeating.
I see.
And that was the Cenobite from Hellraiser. Just because I think that the visual look of these characters and the sort of quiet elegance of it would fit really well with Dead by Daylight. But I did touch the butt.
He does touch the butt.
Okay. So
But
Confirmed.
that happened.
yeah. However, I need to say however more.
So this is a cat butt in the bottom right of your shot.
No,
Killing
it's
Justin this morning.
it's
can't do
lower. It's the lower back. At
I
this
didn't have my
point.
coffee yet. I can't do it.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Favorite license.
Yeah. There's quite a lot. I wish we could get Leslie Nielsen's Dracula Dead and Loving It, but I don't think it's an exact.
I've heard
fit
him say
for Dead by
Pennywise
Daylight.
to answer this question before. So it's interesting that
yeah.
he's gone to
The Cenobite was
Hellraiser now.
great. And there's some good stuff out there. There's some good stuff. But today I'll make a slight twist on that, and I'll say I'm a huge fan of our original chapters, and I've seen the concepts for the new one
I wonder if that means that.
that we're not talking about right now.
I wonder if him not talking about Pennywise means anything. Because I've definitely heard him answer this question with Pennywise before.
All right. Thank you, Matt.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, thank you for joining us for this bit on licenses. Now we have Justin about what's happening with archives and also the Eternal Blight event, because once it was October 1st, we were getting spammed. When's the event? When's the event, Justin? When is the event?
I think this is my third Halloween event that I've worked on, or at least been present at behavior for, and not surprising.
Hallowed
Alright,
Blight,
So,
Withering Blight,
what's
Eternal Blight.
new this year? What's special this year? You want to show us a little bit what's happening?
Yeah, so I think Dylan's got some footage that he can play at the same time, but I wanted to start by saying that we're going to do something similar to last year when we had some of the event content in the archives. So last year we continued the story of the Blight by telling like an
Bountiful
entry
Harvest.
and having some challenges that would let you unlock the story. We're doing the same thing this year to really bring a conclusion to the Blight. And these challenges are going to be spawning plants inside the level that are actually reminiscent of the ones that you've seen if you played the Hallowed
There's a
Blight
second
event back in
objective.
2018. So survivors are going to get challenges that will spawn these plants they can interact with. Then we'll have some killer challenges to play as the Blight as well, and all to unlock more stories towards the conclusion of this Blight saga, I guess you could call it, for the memory entry called Doors Unknown. So this is the first time that I think we've actually had a challenge that is spawning items inside the level, and we're also looking forward to what we can do with this in the future, just in archives in general. But with all this, we know that since the Withering Blight and last year's Tome 1 story is still in the game, there was no actual way to get the Hallowed Blight story in there. So what we're doing is for Tome 5, all of the original entries from the Hallowed Blight event and the 3 animatics are available directly inside the Tome 5 compendium. In the collection. So you can watch all of that right away, like this cool stuff that Dylan's actually playing for us right now, so you can get caught up on the entire saga, see what's happened to the character who was originally known as the Alchemist, now the Blight, what he's done to the killers, how he's gone into this descent into madness. We're also going to be
so cool.
I love watching that all the time.
Wow.
No worries. We're also bringing in, so still on the topic of the archives, we have one outfit in the paid track of the Rift that is a David King hallowed curse outfit called the Ruffian. And yeah, I love him.
What did you do to his head?
No, all his head went to his
Dr.
stash, and that's where it
Robotnik
needs to be.
in the house.
Amazing.
It's the Eggman.
This is gonna divide the community. There's gonna be
Yes.
a huge
Look,
schism.
immediately I know people will have the bald head, the shirtless top, and then whatever on the bottom doesn't matter. It's that's gonna be my
Sanic.
top combo for games
Okay.
going on. In addition to all that, the progressive charms across levels 1, 2, 3, and 4 of Tome 5 are going to be these pustula plants. So similar to the ones that you saw in the level, you're going to kind of unlock a growing pustula plant as you progress through these levels. Now, talking about this is like the Halloween event specific stuff, there's some really cool stuff that we're doing for the first time this year. So
Like what?
So we have charms already, nothing necessarily new there, but what we're doing is we have one that's going to be available as a login reward and 3 really cool ones that you will have to pay attention to Facebook and our social activities to get. So keep your eyes open, look for promo codes, and then you can support these.
Maybe not Facebook
Wow.
specifically, social media in general.
Yes, and I say that just
Social
because
media
I'm
in general.
older generation,
Imagination.
Facebook is my main social network. I don't do the Instas or the Snaps. Or TikTok.
Oh, the snaps, come on.
I
That's
have
old
to-
already.
I know. So, in addition to all that, we are bringing back all of, let's say, like the classics to the event. So you're getting the Halloween items. So you're getting the med kit. You're getting the flashlight. We're also making new add-ons for each of these. So you're gonna have to keep an eye out to see exactly what
The
those do.
broken
They're gonna be really
bulb.
fun. So yeah, it's the broken bulb for the flashlight, and then on the med kit. Oh yeah, there you go.
Ooh, it flashes.
Oopie.
Does it
So-
do something though? It just flashes?
It flashes and it has some extra effects. If you add it to the spooky
Okay, this
flashlight,
is the
then I
one I
believe
want to
you'll
see.
get
The
ghost
serum.
flickering as well. A lot of this is just for fun, and of course you can only earn these items from the blood web during the period of the event. We're also bringing back the offering from last year. I believe it's the pustula plant offering. So this is
Yeah,
going to
okay.
create more. Pustula petals. That's it. So this is going to create more, I guess, blighted generators and hooks. So once you see these in game, these are the ones with the pumpkins and with the actual plants around them. So if you play a Pustula Petal offering and interact with this, you're going to get more blood points. So the whole idea is play as many as you can, get as many blood points as possible from the matches. It's going to be tons of fun. Going back to add-ons for a second, we're actually creating the first universal killer add-on.
Ooh.
So traditionally, in add-ons, they've only affected the killer's power. Now what we're actually doing is, in Spirit of the Blight,
I hope you're sitting down.
Serum. So, if the killer actually has this equipped, I believe it's after hooking a survivor, you'll be able to do one quick dash, as kind of like the Blight's power, and then you'll go back to normal.
Oh my god.
Everyone can be the extremely fast grandpa.
Oh my god. Every killer is going to be able to Blight Rush.
Yeah.
I want to see Michael Myers Blight Rush.
Pinballing back and forth, I'm terrified enough. I don't need the Spirit or the Oni doing this. I'll poop my pants. In addition to this, I mean, like, we've had Halloween-themed lobbies before. But because we've had the Blight coming in with Chapter 17, who already has all of the plants, and this is all part
the
of
killer just got dead hard.
Already, we didn't want to take away from
Pretty much.
So we're keeping this around, but adding in pumpkins and more of an actual Halloween flavor to that. So you're going to be able to enjoy all of this during the period of the Halloween event that is coming later this month. I think it's going to be some really, really fun content.
I know there was a question about
I don't think it stacks. I don't think you can stack those charges.
As well. So we have had Blight outfits in the past. Will there be more?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to wait for a proper reveal on that and not spoil anything.
Ah!
Perfect. So yes is the answer.
Boo.
Perfect. I do think we had. I don't think we went over pretty much everything right now.
Holy cow! I can't believe
something.
that was. I never would have guessed they'd do like a half an hour on licensing.
Yeah,
more than half an hour on licensing.
Concentrating if
and
there's
10 minutes on Blight.
or a pet around. Like
I'm giving him a little massage. He's seen.
Yeah,
Our Tuesday meetings are definitely evidence of this. When half the people in the meeting have a pet on screen.
All right. So, Justin, did you have anything to add to this?
I mean, all I can say is it's been an extremely different year, or the past few months, certainly for everyone here. So I'm really happy that we can actually get Halloween going in the game, so that we can actually celebrate. If the world outside isn't as normal as we'd like, at least Halloween in DBD is, let's say, business as usual. It's scary, it's freaky, it's spoopy, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Thank you so much. So, guys, I think that this was all for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Mathieu and Justin. And I will surely reuse the whole licensing part for the future and answering questions. And thank you, Justin, for showing us out.
Man, I really wish you would have given us a morsel on that licensing.
For having me.
And just remember, if you're outside, wear that mask.
Yeah, don't be a dick. Wear a mask. Stay away from people.
Yeah. Coop's not wearing a mask. Stay away from him.
Yes. Oh.
Aw.
Very.
Of course.
That's what you get. I love this beast.
All right, get a room, you two.
Okay, so I took down a few notes here. We'll go over some of it. And we'll talk about this for a few more minutes. Wow, I never would have thought that licensing would have got that long and said so much, but really also so little. We didn't really get much out of that. Okay, let me turn this off here. Okay, so it sounds like Freddy is a very complicated license, as we've known this. So the way this works with these copyright laws in the United States, after a period of, I believe it's 35 years, the original authors are able to notify studios that they're reclaiming their content. In this case, with Freddy, as being a creation of Wes Craven is no longer with us, sadly, but his family reclaimed their rights to the character Freddy Krueger in Nightmare on Elm Street. So what that means is within the United States, the family owns the license to Freddy, while the movie studio owns the license to Freddy worldwide outside of the United States. So this makes it very complicated. The original license with Freddy is between Dead by Daylight and the movie studio. Going forward, they have to deal with both of these parties, and these two parties have to agree to do whatever they want to do with Dead by Daylight. So that's what makes it so complicated. Exactly. It's another Friday the 13th issue. And honestly, I kind of think Matthew saying Hellraiser is a red herring. I don't think it means anything, because Clive Barker also announced this year that he is reclaiming his rights to Hellraiser in the United States, which will take effect in 2021. So if you don't see Hellraiser come in December, that license just got a whole lot more complicated too. And as I said, I've heard Matthew answer this question. I can find the audio and play it for you, where they said, if you have your wish, you can bring any license in that you want, and you don't have to get approval. It just happens. You just wish it, and it happens. He has said it, being Pennywise, of course, from Stephen King. I think it's interesting that he changed his answer for this question today, especially knowing that the Hellraiser license is getting much more complicated going forward. So does that mean that we have a shot at it and Pennywise? I will also say that I have an audio clip of a dev on stream saying that what I've told you in the past, that the Death Slinger was originally supposed to be called the Gunslinger, and they changed the name because Gunslinger, they didn't, okay, so what they said is, we didn't specifically change the name of the Death Slinger from Gunslinger to Death Slinger because of Stephen King having a trademark character with that name. However, had we gone forward with the name Gunslinger, things would have gotten complicated. So that to me means they're doing something with Stephen King. I firmly believe that in my heart. I'm not trying to clickbait, get y'all into a frenzy. I firmly believe in my heart that that's why they went away from Gunslinger. And the fact that a dev said things would have gotten complicated if they kept the name Gunslinger, what else can it mean? How does it get complicated? Gunslinger is a very generic term, been around for 100 years. Stephen King doesn't own the word, period. So the only reason why you would shy away from that word is if you didn't want to make Stephen King and his people mad. That's my opinion. So yeah, this whole Freddy thing, it just sounds like it's just very complicated to go forward on this Quentin face rework that we all wanted. I know that they haven't stopped trying. It just seems like it's very difficult. I don't know if it's ever going to happen. I really thought maybe they had sorted it, and here in October they would drop this Freddy on platforms where he doesn't exist and give us this Quentin rework, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Matthew touched on how actors perhaps own their likeness rights. If you live in California, it's much easier to own your likeness rights, I believe. So it looks like Jamie Lee Curtis has a very strong case for her likeness, and that's why Laurie Strode doesn't look as much like Jamie Lee as she could in our game. Other examples of characters who don't own their likeness rights are like when Star Wars came out, all three of the actors, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, all had to sign off all their likeness rights. There's an instant code for those of you who are traveling along the way. They had to sign off all their license rights, which is why Star Wars had such mass merchandising with their likeness on everything, and they didn't get a piece of any of that because they had signed it away, because George Lucas is a very good businessman. So that's an example where you don't necessarily own your likeness rights for portraying a certain character. Let's see, what else did I write down here for notes? Okay, so it looks like they're going to have those pustula petals come back on your webs. You should all be setting up your webs now, right now. Get all of your webs to the point where you just need to buy one more thing to get a web, a new blood web, and park it on your character. So when the event goes live, you buy that one item, and then you get a brand new blood web, and then you'll have pustula petals waiting there for you on those webs, plus the new add-on for the killers, and the previous Halloween items, the spoopy medkit and the spoopy flashlight, and the new add-ons for those items. They didn't actually show us the refined serum for Survivor, right? Why didn't we get to see that? That's weird. Would like to have seen the Survivor's room zooming around. But anyway, so make sure you're getting your blood webs ready. This event's going to go live on the 21st, so it looks like the patch is going to come out most likely on the typical Tuesday when they put out patches on the 20th, and we'll get the new McMillan Estate maps then. Then the 21st, the event will go live, and the Archives Unleashed Tome 5 will go live. So playing the pustula, there's not going to be a double blood points event. You're going to have to generate your own extra blood points by getting these petals, playing the offerings, stacking them with the other players in your matches, and working those special generators or hooking survivors on those special hooks in game. Now, looks like the archive is going to have special challenges that will spawn the plants in game if you're going for that challenge. Not sure. I might have to rewatch that back. But my understanding is that it seems like you have to be going for the challenge, and then that will spawn the plant in for you to harvest it to go for the challenge. We'll have to see. All right, so what do we got here? So this is Tome 5. This is going to come out next week. We saw a couple of the skins here with this Blight. They're not showing us the Legion yet. We're going to have to wait. They're going to leave some surprises for us. I'm pretty excited about that. There's the Nia and the Hillbilly, and I'm presuming that we're going to get a lot more information about the Observer here, since he seems to be central focused on that. What else we got? We have this. Oh, not that one. Sorry. This one, the Rift. So there's your Dr. Robotnik version of David Eggman. And then the two killers are going to be the focus of this Rift. Look like they're going to be the Clown and the Hillbilly, and the two survivors are going to be Adam Francis and Nia Carlson. The David is just going to be a Blight outfit. What else? Okay, these are the add-ons here. This Broken Bulb, which is going to make your flashlight blink. And this Refined Serum is supposed to be an add-on for a med kit that gives you a burst of speed and leaves a trail behind you of blight. That's what the data miners told us. So I don't know. I don't know if all this is accurate. I think so. I think it will be. What else? I think that about covers it. Oh, so people were asking if those charges that the killer gets to rush attack will stack. I don't think so, because the way it was worded is, I believe it says it recharges once you hook a survivor. So I think it's going to be a you use it or you lose it kind of a thing. I don't think Myers is going to be able to slam off the wall 4 times. I could be wrong, but I think it's going to be just a one-time use. Like you hook somebody, then you use your rush sometime before you hook another person. Otherwise, you're going to lose it and it'll stay at 1 charge. I could be wrong, though. We'll see. And since the Blight already has rush, he just gets an additional charge for his rush. Am I the only one who hates David's head? No, I think it's going to be a point of contention. You're either going to love it or hate it. There's going to be people who are going to put it on just to trigger other people. Oh, man. It's going to be something. Oh, and they also said keep an eye on the socials for special charms. So socials are going to be, what, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Is that all the socials that they do? I mean, they have some that are international as well. When I find out information about how to get those charms from the socials, I'll definitely let you all know. If it's going to be redeem codes, man, that's going to be really difficult for console people. Because could you imagine if they put out a tweet with, say, 10, 20, whatever it is, redeem codes for charms, and you're a console person trying to use your joystick and put it in before people who can type just go, done, got it, right? So they're going to have to take that into consideration for people who are on console being able to plug in redeem codes for charms. So I hope they have a plan for that. Because otherwise, I would say 90% of the charms are going to go to people on PC who can type it in. I think the codes are unlimited. That would be the best. Yeah, Rusty, if that's the way it is you just need to get the code and it works for everybody, that's perfect. I'll be more than happy to make videos and share that information with you all so that you don't miss any codes if you aren't necessarily following on them on these socials. And we'll work together and make sure that we all share this information so everybody can get the code to claim the Halloween themed charms as they come out. All right, I guess that's about it for me for today. Oh, I had some people, I saw there in the chat that they were asking me, was I having trouble signing up for my behavior account? Yes. The first time I tried to do my Stadia link, it failed. Second time it worked. I've tried to link Steam about 10 times and it doesn't work. Can't get it to work. But it's brand new. You know, we'll give them some time to figure out what's going wrong and why it isn't working. I had my two-factor authentication on my phone with the Steam and everything. I put it in and it just refused it. So I don't really know what to do. I'm just going to wait to hear more or see if they can fix whatever is not working. But I obviously want to link my progress from PC to Stadia because I want all those DLCs that I bought and cosmetics to come over to Stadia. And I think Stadia is great. I had a lot of fun with it. I know a lot of people poo-poo on it as like, you know, they snub their nose on it. But man, if you don't have a super gaming computer, it's really something you should consider because the cloud, as long as you have, all you really need is stable internet. And then you let the machine on Google's end of things do all the computing for the gaming. And all you do is play the game through the net. I haven't had really any problems. Some of you here have watched me do it. We've had 2 sessions here with Stadia and it's been smooth as silk. I really thought it was going to be bad and that I would have to go, it's not that bad, guys. And it was great. I was like, wow, this is really fun. And I liked handing the reins over to all of you for the crowd choice and let you pick my survivor and killers to play. And you know, maybe cloud gaming is the future. Supposedly Amazon's coming up with their own version of it. And there was actually an article where Dead by Daylight was asked about this, and they said, you know, you're getting into this cloud gaming here with Stadia, and now Amazon's coming out with one. Would you be interested in doing that too? And they said, we want, wherever people are playing games, we want them to be able to play Dead by Daylight is the long and short of the question. Let me see if I can find it for you really quickly here. So they say, yeah, games are going to run at 4K and 60 FPS on next-gen consoles. And what is it here? Here it is. Dead by Daylight just launched on Google Stadia. However, a new cloud gaming service from Amazon has now surfaced as well. Would you be interested in porting Dead by Daylight over there at some point too? And Matthew Cote responded, our goal is to make Dead by Daylight available to the largest number of people possible. So that sounds like a yes to me without saying yes. So 4K and 60 FPS cannot be in the same sentence. On the next-gen consoles, though, right? It says here, you've said that the game will run at 4K and 60 FPS on next-gen consoles. I'm assuming that's going to be the case on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Will the Xbox Series S version of Dead by Daylight also run at 60 FPS? And are you targeting 1440p or 1080p? At launch, we aim to have the game running at the best frame rate possible in order to have the smoothest experience. For now, it'll be in 1080p, but we'll keep investigating on how to raise it to 1440p. Will we be getting free cosmetic pieces like last year? We don't know. We don't know. I think... I don't know. I'd have to double check this David. I think the David is supposed to be on the paid track of the Rift. I think the only one that the data miners believe is on the free track are the Never Stop Slashing Legion, the fan custom creation, and the cheetah print Meg from mobile and the snakeskin Wraith from mobile. Again, nothing's confirmed. Those are just rumors, so we don't know. The actual event is going to start on October the 21st, and it's going to run through till November the 4th. So, as I said, just get your blood webs ready. Get them all one click away. If you play multiple, if you play only one character, then this is more difficult for you. But if you're somebody like me who can jump from character to character, I have all of my survivors one click away from new blood webs. So I'll just be able to buy the last item in every web and load up on Pustula Petal offerings on all of the survivors and just play them one after another. Same thing with killers. And I'll just be able to play a Pustula Petal every game to max out those points. Will you be playing tonight? It depends on how long the G Fuel event goes today. So if you don't know, G Fuel is sponsoring a pretty hefty prize pool tournament on Thursday nights on their channel, on their Twitch channel. I have, is it this? No. Where is it? This one, G Fuel. It's on their Twitch channel. I'll be hosting it on my own Twitch channel tonight on G Fuel Energy. This is the G Fuel Energy Games Dead by Daylight series every Thursday night for the rest of October here. And there's a $4,000 prize pool. We've got it down from 16 teams to 12 teams tonight. After tonight, we'll have it down to 8 teams left in it. And then we'll go down to 4 next Thursday. And then it'll be the finale on the last Thursday of October. So I hope that you all tune in for that. We'd love to see you there. There's going to be a lot of giveaways. G Fuel has been very generous. We already had one stream last Thursday. G Fuel's been very generous with the giveaways and discount codes on their products. So I suggest you tune in to see it. There's a lot of very talented teams. As you know, if you've been watching me for a while, Boomer and I have been hosting tournaments in various places for the last 7 months. We have another one coming up this weekend, but tonight is the G Fuel one. So we've seen a lot of competitive teams month to month. A lot of the same names come over, some well-known streamers, and you know, tonight's going to be no exception to that. So I'm not able to stream this event tonight. This is G Fuel's baby. They hired me and Boomer to come commentate on it. G Fuel's baby. It's going to be on G Fuel's channel. I'll be hosting their channel, but I can't stream their content. So you have to come out to G Fuel's channel or watch my channel, which will direct you to G Fuel's channel, but I can't stream it myself. So I still would love to see you there. And again, on the weekend, then we go to Trovo, which is another streaming platform service similar to Twitch. That's a whole other ball of wax. So we'll talk about that on Friday and Saturday. But tonight is the G Fuel tourney. All right, what else you got for me? What other questions? Will the Pustula flowers be like years before, where you have a syringe, or different if you know? Well, they showed you know, a harvesting of the flower. I don't think there is going to be an in-game currency to earn stuff. The Rift is like taking over all of that stuff that we have in the past for earning stuff. You know what I mean? The shifting to the Rift. So we'll see. Could you call the Blight skin Blight 2? Blight squared. Pustulas are only for the tome challenges. No, I don't think so. The Pustula is going to make the special hooks and generators appear in the map. But if you're on a challenge that says harvest a visceral canker, then the plant will appear to be harvested in the map. So there's going to be 2 aspects of it. You're going to have the offering to play the blood point reward items in the map, the hooks and the generators, which will reward extra blood points for you playing that offering and hooking people on those hooks or completing those generators. And then the aspect of going through the archive challenges, selecting those challenges that specifically talk about the visceral canker plants. And when you select those, then it's going to put the plants by themselves in the map. That's my understanding of it right now. Are we ever going to get old Rift outfits we missed? Yeah, that's a really good question. I wish I could get you an answer on that. If they had another Q&A, that would be at the top of my list, because I really do not understand what the business model is going forward as far as old Rift outfits. I personally believe that they should all be available for purchase in the store. But then when I read this thing in this this same interview here, where it says, a popular request we've read about in the community is whether it could be possible to speed up the battle pass gain. Do you have any plans for that? And then Dave Richard answered it. The Rift is still a relatively new feature of the game, and we're constantly readjusting it and adding new elements. Our data shows that most players end up earning a significant portion of the content in there. We will continue to balance it, making sure that players get a lot of cool rewards and guaranteeing that the few who manage to get to the end feel like they earn something exclusive. So when he says feels like they earn something exclusive, is he merely talking about the completion charms that will always be exclusive to completing that Rift? You would probably never be able to buy completion charms, I wouldn't imagine. Or is he talking about the cosmetics along the way? So that's what scares me. Does he mean like if you didn't get to level 70 on this Rift to get that Meg head for that outfit, you're just never going to get it? Or is he talking about the charms? I hope he's only talking about the charms, and that you'll be able to eventually buy the Rift cosmetics in some capacity. I'm sure they're looking at this very carefully and trying to decide how much money they're making off the Rift passes, how much money they're making off of people who are buying tiers to get to the end, and considering how it will change their business model if they make it so that 6 to 9 months down the line, you'll be able to buy these outfits eventually in the store. Will that make fewer people use the Rift Pass? Will that make fewer people buy tiers? These are all questions that are unknown, right? We don't know until they actually offer something for sale how that's going to impact future Rifts and purchase of tiers. Don't know. So the rumor is that perhaps the Hallowed Blight Nurse will make an appearance in the store. Maybe that'll give us some idea. I really think, personally, I think that they're leaving money on the table if they don't put the Rift cosmetics in the shop at some point. I think they're leaving money on the table. Because I think the people who buy all 70 tiers on day one when a Rift comes out, I think they're still going to do that. Right? Because if they're willing to buy 70 tiers on day one and not go through the grind, they're not going to wait 6 to 9 months for the cosmetics to show up in the store. They're still going to buy stuff on day one. So most cases, it's going to be cheaper for you to buy tiers than to wait for cosmetics to come out in the store if you want everything. So I don't really think it hurts the business model, but, you know, I don't work for them, so I'm not in the position to make these decisions. But it is, you know, it's a tricky balance for them. They have to make sure that they're not going to turn people off who have said, hey, I bought this Rift and I worked hard to get to level 70 and got all this stuff for free because I spent my 1,000 cells. I got my 8 archive outfits. I got my 1,000 cells back, so essentially I got all the outfits for free. I just played a lot, and now you're just going to sell them to people? And I'm like, yeah? Well, who cares? What's the big deal? You got it for free. I don't know. It's like, it's weird to me that anybody would go, well, you're just going to let that guy buy that? I got it for free. That's ridiculous. Why are you going to let him buy it? I got it for free. Like, what do you care? You got it for free. You did better, right? I don't understand. And I always make the example of my neighbor next door, right over there. wonderful gentleman, he has a vegetable garden in his backyard. And he grows his own vegetables. So he puts in a lot of work. He tills the soil, he plants the seeds, he picks weeds out of the garden. He, takes good care of this garden every day, waters it. And eventually he sees vegetables as a result, right? All of his hard work that he puts into the garden benefits him with free vegetables. He works hard on the garden, he gets vegetables for free. It's the same thing as the Rift. You work hard on your Rift, you get free cosmetics. Do you think my neighbor gives a flip if I go across the street to the grocery store and buy tomatoes and cucumbers? No, he doesn't care. He's happy. He feels the reward, the satisfaction of his time spent, that he gets vegetables out of his garden for his hard work. He don't care if I go buy my vegetables. What does he care what I do? So that's the same thing that's the same attitude you should have towards Rift Cosmetics eventually coming to the store. That's my opinion. That's my 2 cents. If I work hard and get all my cosmetics for free by grinding out games in the Rift, what do I care if you buy them? What difference does that make to me? But some people get upset about it. I don't really understand it. But that's my idea. So, anyway, that's my 2 cents for the day. Eternal Blight event is going to start on the 21st. Come check out this G Fuel event here tonight. Watch these teams compete for that $4,000 prize pool. And I'm going to go have some lunch with my son now. Thanks for watching that dev stream with us, everybody. Hope you have a great day. We'll see you next time. Wait a minute. Wait, stop saying free because I had to spend my own money. No, okay. Look. So it is free because if you put 1,000 Auric cells into it, you get the 1,000 cells back, right? By the end of the Rift. So it's free. You got your cells back. So yes, okay. It's like you started a bank account and they go, hi, I want to start a bank account. Okay. You have to put a minimum deposit to start your account. Oh, well, I can't just start my account with $0? No, you have to put in a minimum deposit. Well, how much is that? $10. Okay. So you put your $10 into Dead by Daylight. You buy your first pack of Auric cells. You unlock your first Rift Pass. By the end of Tier 70, you got all your cells back. You still have your money in the bank. They didn't take your money. You still have your 1,000 Auric cells in the bank. So then the next Rift Pass comes out. You spend that 1,000 cells on that one. You grind all the way to 70. You get the 1,000 cells back again. So yeah, it is free because in theory, if you play enough, in perpetuity, you can keep using that 1,000 cells to buy you every Rift Pass. So if you played it smart and played enough, you could be going into Tome 5 here now on your same 1,000 Auric cells and buying that one and getting them back by the end. So yeah, in my mind, it's free. Anyway.